The juicy globule of Alpo canned dog food quivered unappetizingly at the end of my fork. I braced myself and took a bite. As I started to chew, I realized, chewing is a mistake. Every little kernel of gristle and, horse popped between my teeth. I stopped chewing and gulped it down like a reluctant snake. I grabbed the can of Diet Dr. Pepper to wash down the dog food, and the basement full of high schoolers erupted in cheers and high fives and laughter. Now, just a few minutes earlier, I had spoken 5 words that would seal my fate. I'll do it for $5. So, yeah, I ate wet dog food. But I was also $5 richer than I was before my burp smelled like ground up Seabiscuit. And that joke didn't land last time. I'm glad it did here. And when I was in high school, $5 could buy you a lot of 29-cent McDonald's hamburgers. And yes, Virginia, there was a time where McDonald's sold hamburgers for 29 cents each, and I know this because I ate a lot of them in high school. Now, I was not in the habit of eating dog food as a child. This was something I grew into. And McDonald's, the human equivalent of dog food, was just an occasional treat. Now, I was fortunate enough to have parents who made home-cooked meals. Not just home-cooked meals, but good home-cooked meals. Carne asada tacos, chicken cordon bleu, steak with baked potatoes and broccoli. My dad's meatloaf recipe is now my meatloaf recipe. I realized how good I had it as a kid when, later in life, at a dinner party hosted by my sister's in-laws, I was served lasagna. Or at least that's what the host called the loose pile of noodles, vegetables, and sauce floating in a milky broth that threatened to overflow the shallow banks of my plate at any moment. My dad joked to her, "Do you have a straw?" As we all stared apprehensively at the creamy puddles in front of us. It made dog food seem downright mouthwatering by comparison. Now, it turns out our host had wanted to make a healthy lasagna with Greek yogurt instead of ricotta. But the store was out of plain yogurt, so I got peach. I figured it was close enough. She shrugged. While a table full of family members collectively tried to scrape the taste off of their tongue with their teeth, her husband just kept eating. The poor guy, his taste buds had Stockholm syndrome. Now, mercifully, my parents made us Stouffer's lasagna, like real Americans. But although they were good cooks and, when necessary, good frozen food reheaters, I didn't know how good I had it when I was a kid because I was picky. Like, don't let any of the food on my plate touch any of the other food on my plate picky. Like, plain hamburgers, just meat and bread and nothing else, please and thank you, picky. Like, cheese is exotic, picky. And the one thing that I absolutely hated growing up was my mom's signature dish, pot roast. I just couldn't hang with the mushy carrots, the stringy beef, and the onions. The onions. One particularly surly night, as I pushed my pot roast around on my plate, I had the smart idea to critique my mom's cooking. I'd rather eat a snail. My dad didn't say anything. He simply stood up, walked out the front door, and returned a minute or two later holding a snail daintily between his thumb and forefinger. He walked to the fridge, pulled out a bottle of ketchup, sat across from me, flipped the snail upside down, and squeezed a thin line of ketchup along the snail's belly, the world's least appetizing hot dog. He then held it out for me and simply waited. After a silent standoff that lasted several minutes, I stabbed some mushy carrots and stringy beef with my fork and took a defeated bite. My dad stood, rinsed off the snail, put it back in the front yard, and sat down and finished his dinner. No words were spoken, but I never criticized my mom's cooking again. In high school, I developed an iron belly. Now, this would come in handy with the dog food dare. We had food carts on campus that sold staples like Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. My lunch every day was a personal pan pepperoni pizza, a Coke, and a giant chocolate chip cookie. Now, for some weird reason, I was always really sleepy in 5th and 6th period, but lunch was good. As a theater kid, I usually had rehearsal after school, and we'd take turns picking up a bunch of orders of carne asada fries or bags and bags of those dirt cheap Mickey D's burgers, and we'd make an impromptu backstage buffet. On days that I didn't have rehearsal, I'd come home and make a half a package of Totino's pizza rolls or a couple of quesadillas as an afternoon snack. During this time, I also discovered cigarettes and booze. Now, you'd think the cigarettes would curb the appetite, but no. My overindulgence was so readily apparent that my friends got me an engraved flask for my 17th birthday that simply read, "Lush" in Comic Sans. In college, my tastes grew more adventurous as my metabolism grew more fatigued. I tried sushi and loved it. I tried Indian food and loved it. I tried cocaine and loved it. I became a human garbage disposal. There was basically nothing I wouldn't ingest through one of my facial orifices. I was attending a Catholic university, and since I myself do not have a personal relationship with an invisible sky wizard, I thought it might be funny to give up sobriety for Lent my freshman year. Funny for whom? Great question. For 40 days and 40 nights, I subsisted on a daily diet of pink lemonade and vodka, just as Jesus would have wanted. And I had a rule: the pink lemonade bottle that I poured my vodka into had to be clear enough for me to watch TV through it. Only then could I drink. I sopped up my daily potables with Domino's Pizza, which for some reason accepted our school's meal plan, which was good because I had spent what little cash I had on pink lemonades and handles of Trader Joe's Vodka of the Gods. Now, judging by its acrid flavor profile, the gods in question were, I assume, the gods of death and rot. Eventually, I started filtering that rancid potato juice through a Brita filter, convinced that it made it taste exactly like Grey Goose, because despite the dog food, I had a refined palate for a 19-year-old. Now, by the time I got to grad school, I was a full-blown heathen masquerading as an academic. I was also chronically single for the first time in my life, and I hit the dating apps hard, like they were a bag of 29-cent McDonald's hamburgers. I had a pretty regular stream of dates where I would try my damnedest to show that I was a respectable young man who wasn't eating and drinking myself into an early grave. Rarely did I have a second date, which was probably for the better for all parties involved. I hit 30 during grad school, and my body basically said, "Oh, hey, buddy, pump the brakes. There's only so much whiskey and tobacco and grease we can process." I developed some, well, let's call them digestive abnormalities. However, I was still dirt poor, and the only doctor I could afford was the school nurse. To be fair, I went to a school that also had a great medical school, so our school nurse was basically like any other doctor's office, only staffed in part by med students. I went to my appointment, met with the doctor. She was, to my horror, absolutely, objectively beautiful. Like, to the point where you think, this person is doing the world a disservice by being a doctor. They should just be on a yacht somewhere tropical. After describing my symptoms, she uttered 6 words that filled me with dread. "I'd like to examine your anus." Now, she handed me a smock and left to retrieve a nurse who would help her. By the time she returned, I was lying on my side on the examination table, my bare ass, feeling the cool AC through the smock's open back. Now, I didn't know what to do with my pants. Do I take them all the way off? Is that presumptive? So they hung around my ankles, leaving me feeling like one of those damsels that gets tied to train tracks, waiting for Dudley Do-Right to come along and save me. Now, the nurse who joined the doctor was closer to my age, also gorgeous, tall, blonde, with kind eyes, and she could probably take me in arm wrestling. This is Astrid. She's going to be assisting in the exam. Now, my brain briefly registered her name as unusual, but oddly familiar. A Viking name. In past centuries, she might have been a warlord, but today, Astrid would be examining my ass. How the mighty Norse have fallen. I should also note this was my first rectal exam, so I was not sure what to expect. I hadn't made any special preparations. Do I apologize in advance? Do I thank the doctor after? My 6th grade etiquette classes had not prepared me for this scenario. I could do the foxtrot, and I knew which side the salad fork went on, but Mr. Benjamin had failed to explain how to properly introduce yourself to someone who is about to put their fingers inside of you. Now, you're going to feel some pressure, and it might be a little cold, the doctor warned me, as she and Astrid took their positions at my defenseless derriere. I didn't play football, but I do imagine this is what the guy who throws the ball backwards through his legs feels like. Theater kid. The coldness of the lube was bracing, but even in my compromised position, some part of my primitive caveman brain was telling me that I had to play it cool and act tough to impress these attractive women who were about to be elbow deep in my duodenum. So I said something suave like, "Oh, as the icy lube sent a shiver up my spine, starting, obviously, at the tailbone. As the doctor's frigid finger wedged into my butthole, I discovered something about myself. I discovered that my fight or flight response when faced with uncomfortable situations is comedy Tourette's. Without realizing I was saying anything, I blurted out a joke in embarrassed panic, uncontrolled. "You could at least buy me coffee first." And it was met with crickets. Every comic's worst nightmare. In the silence where I had prayed a polite chuckle might have lived, it hit me, Astrid, why her name was so familiar. We had a date scheduled for Friday, she and I. We'd been chatting on OkCupid. Our chat messages flashed in front of my eyes. Medical student, my age, from somewhere in the Midwest, taller than me, but that's okay because I was still within the height range she deemed acceptable on her profile. But now we'd skipped right past first date, blown by first base, and found ourselves intimately connected, not a coffee to be had. I wanted to look into her eyes to see if she was sharing this moment of horrifying recognition, but I was not flexible enough to do so. The examination continued as I lay there in stunned, embarrassed horror, the silence only exacerbated by my panicked need to joke. After another lengthy pause, I uncontrollably half yelled, "Now I know what Kermit the Frog feels like!" to the doctor who it felt like was using me to audition for the Muppets. Now, if this, my first date with Astrid, was going to be a success, I was going to have to win her over with my charmingly unhinged scream jokes. After what felt like about 73 years, the procedure was over, but before the doctor removed her finger, she warned, "Now, it's going to feel like you're having a bowel movement, but you're not. That's just the pressure." "Noted," I said. But noted, it was not. Because as soon as she removed her finger, I shrieked, "Oh my God, did I poop?" Astrid uttered the only sentence she would ever say to me. "Maybe a little." She handed me some paper towels, and they left the room so I could clean myself up. When they came back in, I was fully dressed, but a shell of my former self. I couldn't make eye contact with either of them. The doctor explained to me that she didn't see anything to be concerned about, but that I should probably change my diet and cut back on drinking and smoking. That's it. A sound piece of advice that any sane person who saw my lifestyle would have been able to give without gazing into my abyss. All it cost was my dignity. Now, for some people, eating a can of dog food for $5 might have been their version of rock bottom. Somehow I hit that, kept digging, scooped through the chunks of horse meat until my spoon hit the bottom of the can. Now, the irony is, despite a cornucopia of bad decisions, I still did remarkably well in school, in work, and occasionally in love. So I had convinced myself that I was doing well. But change begins from within. And in my case, from the very place that the doctor's finger was within. I mean, if I continued to live this way, who knows how many first dates would involve a rectal exam, and not in the fun way. So I changed up my diet, cut back on drinking, tried to eat healthy for the first time since living with my parents. My days of binging and hedonism and 29-cent McDonald's hamburgers were mostly behind me, just like Astrid was. Now, she and I never did go on that date. The day after our unexpected rendezvous, I worked up the courage to open my OkCupid app. Our messages had disappeared. She'd blocked me. Or rather, according to OkCupid, she had marked me as dead to me. Ouch. And who can blame her? It's hard to make small talk when you've already touched the other person's small intestine. And because of that pivotal, not first date, I'm a different person now. For example, now I like pot roast. See? People can change. Thank you.